In this video, we're going to review PSIGEN Software's routing panel for Toshiba scanners. The panel allows scan operators to route documents to the correct workflow process in PSICapture with just the press of a single button. The PSICapture routing panel seamlessly integrates the power of Toshiba scanners with the versatile document processing capabilities of PSICapture. The panel presents a set of scan destination buttons directly on the device's touchscreen. The operator presses a button on the panel that describes the general type of document being scanned, and the document is then routed to the appropriate location for auto-import by PSICapture. Each button and its associated destination are user configurable and can be hidden or displayed based on the current scan operator's security roles. We'll discuss the configuration application in more detail later in the video. Let's review the overall architecture of the panel and how it interacts with both the Toshiba scanner and with PSICapture. The panel is a web application which is hosted on a Microsoft server which has Microsoft's Internet Information Services feature enabled. Here's an example of the panel's scan destination screen, which presents the various routing destinations available to the current scan operator. The Toshiba scanner has a large color touchscreen. Among its many features, it has a web browser mode that allows the scanner to interact with web applications. After login, the panel displays the scan buttons that the operator can access. The operator chooses the destination simply by pressing the appropriate button. After selecting the destination, the operator scans the documents. The resulting images are transferred directly to the proper location on the file server. The PSICapture server is configured to monitor directories for incoming files. When a new image file arrives, it is imported into the system and routed through the proper workflow. Each workflow consists of a combination of steps, such as quality assurance, form classification, data acquisition, and migration to external systems. The workflow steps can be configured to process automatically from start to finish, configured for manual processing by an operator, or a combination of each. Now let's examine a simple PSICapture configuration, which is known as a document type. We use the configuration module to maintain document types. Here we have an accounting document type for processing accounting documents. As you can see here, it has auto import enabled, and it is monitoring this directory on the file server. Here we see the list of data items we wish to acquire from the document. For this simple example, we'll be importing purchase orders. However, a single accounting document type can be configured to recognize and acquire information from many different types of forms. And finally, we have our simple workflow. PSICapture will import the file through the capture import step, then use zone-based OCR in the index step to populate our data items, and finally display the results in a quality assurance step for manual review. Now let's use the panel to scan a purchase order and route it to PSICapture for processing. Okay, here we have the panel's login screen. I'll enter my credentials, log on, and we'll see the destination buttons this ID can access. Here are scan destinations. The page can display a set of 10 buttons at one time. If you have more than 10 buttons to display, these page up and page down buttons allow you to scroll through them to find the one you need. If you hover over a destination button, it'll display a tooltip telling you the target directory. I'll press the accounting button so we can begin our scan. Here we have the scan menu, which allows you to configure various scanning options. To change an option, press the associated button to select a new setting. Once you have your settings configured, press the Scan button to begin scanning your documents. Now the scan is complete. We'll go back to SciCapture and we'll see how the document was processed. Here's the batch that SciCapture created when it detected our scanned document. As you can see, the batch is waiting for us to complete the quality assurance step. So we'll open the batch in quality assurance. And there's the purchase order we scanned. We can view the data that was captured through OCR for each of the index fields we defined earlier in the document. Because this purchase order contains 2 line items, it's generated 2 records. Here we can highlight a few of the columns and you can see the OCR zones that were used to capture the data. It all looks good, so we'll close the batch. Normally after a quality assurance step, you would have additional workflow steps to push the data and image to an external system, such as SharePoint. Now let's take a look at the web-based administration application I mentioned at the beginning of the video. First, I'll log on with an admin ID. First, we see the destination buttons we have defined. You can add, change, or delete buttons through this screen. Let's edit the accounting button. Here you configure the text you'll see on the button, the destination folder for the scanned images, and the default name for each new image generated. The panel automatically appends a date timestamp to the file name so that each file will be unique. Next, we have the security roles for the button. The panel matches the assigned roles for the button with those assigned to the scan operator to determine which buttons to display. Finally, we have the transfer method. Use POST to send images straight to a file server. You can also use FTP, which requires the FTP server's name and credentials. Next, we have the list of devices. Licensing is based on the total number of scanners that are configured to access the panel. Whenever a scanner accesses the panel for the first time, it's registered here. You can also register devices manually beforehand by pressing the Add button. To remove a device, simply highlight it and press the Delete button. Next, we have the IP address of the PSIGEN license server. This is a server that houses all PSIGEN software licenses, including your panel license. Next, we have the user screen, where we define the scan operators and their roles. The admin user is included by default and cannot be deleted. To add a user, press the Add button. Enter the scan operator's ID, which should match to an ID that is already defined on a scanner through Toshiba's security configuration. If this operator also needs to access this administration application, enter a password for them here. Finally, assign the security roles for the operator. As I mentioned earlier, the assigned roles determine which buttons the operator can see on the panel. Finally, we have the screen for defining security roles. To add new roles, press the Add button. Enter new roles, separating each with a colon. To delete a role, highlight that role and press the Delete key. As you can see, if the role is in use by a button or a user, it can't be deleted. Well, that concludes our overview of the SciCapture routing panel for Toshiba scanners. For more information, please contact your Toshiba or PSIGEN reseller.